How's it going here? Okay, good. I'm so excited to have this opportunity to learn with you. This part here is where he goes into the halachas. You have a chance to learn first, and then afterwards looking forward to having a discussion with you. Great. Enjoy your chavrusa learning.
Chief Rabbi Goldstein, it's really an honor and a pleasure to have you here. Late last night, I reached out to the Chief Rabbi and said, I heard you're in town. Can we do a shiur? And without a moment's hesitation, the Chief Rabbi made this happen. And thank you so much for being here, Chief Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi Shlomo, for the very warm words of introduction. It's so lovely to be here. Rabbi Bernstein, Talmidim, students, it's such an honor and a delight to be with you at Cape Town Torah High. I'm such a fan and so excited about the impact that your school is making on the Jewish community of Cape Town. The energy, the warmth. It also is so meaningful to me that your school is in this Beis Midrash, the Ponovich Beis Midrash, which has such an important history. It was set up originally, the shul and this Beis Midrash was set up by Jews who emigrated to Cape Town from Ponovich in Lithuania, and they set up this shul and this Beis Midrash in 1940, and then just a year later they heard about the terrible massacres of the Nazis of the Jews of Ponovich. And think about those Jews who came here to Cape Town, and they set up this Beis Midrash. They didn't know what the future would hold, and could they imagine that all of those years later there would be this incredible Torah school, vibrant, a boys' school, a girls' school, learning Torah at the highest levels, with energy and with positivity and with the joy of what it means to be a Jew. And this school has flourished. Cape Town Torah High has flourished. I want to pay tribute to Rabbi Shlomo and to his entire staff who have made such an incredible impact on all of you, to Rebbetzin Zissi Deren and everything that is happening in the girls' school, and the incredible board chaired by Rabbi Weinberg and everybody who's doing such amazing efforts to make the school so successful. But ultimately, I want to pay tribute to each and every single one of you, because you're all here because you chose to be here. And so for me, it's a complete and pure nachas to be here with you this morning and to have this opportunity to learn Torah with you. And we're going to discuss today a very important mitzvah that we're doing every single day, the mitzvah of the counting of the Omer. And before this talk, you had an opportunity to learn b'chavrusa, to actually get engaged and to understand the words of the Sefer HaChinuch, which is such a classic work of Torah learning and wisdom, giving us not only the practicalities of the mitzvah, but the vision, what he calls the shoresh, the root of the mitzvah. What is this mitzvah about? What is its meaning? What is its purpose? And obviously, whenever we delve into the meaning and purpose of any mitzvah, we know every mitzvah comes from Hashem, and ultimately Hashem, his reasons are reasons that we cannot begin to get to the bottom of completely, and we do the mitzvah because Hashem told us to do the mitzvah. And yet, what we see from the Sefer HaChinuch, even though we are limited in our being able to understand the complete picture of the mitzvah, nevertheless, we have a responsibility, we have a calling to find the meaning and purpose in the mitzvah so that the mitzvahs can improve us and make us into better people. The Sefer HaChinuch follows the approach of the Ramban when it comes to Tameh HaMitzvahs, to the reasons for the mitzvahs, where the Ramban explains that the mitzvahs were given so that we can be improved and we can become better people. So what I want to discuss with you today is simply this: how can we become better people through the mitzvah of the counting of the Omer? How can we transform ourselves through the mitzvah of the counting of the Omer, using the Sefer HaChinuch as the framework? So if let's ask, let's begin. I'm going to throw out one or two questions, and feel free to share some answers that you have and that you're thinking about with regards to this. According to the Sefer HaChinuch, right, the mitzvah of the counting of the Omer is a link between Pesach and Shavuot, right? Why do we need a link like that? How did you understand the Sefer HaChinuch? What's behind this link? Why is it so important? Really, Pesach is about the fact that we left Egypt. Shavuot is about the fact that Hashem gives us the Torah. So why do the two have to be connected? They actually are completely separate things. On Pesach we say, thank you Hashem, with your great miracles, you took us out of Egypt, you took us out of slavery. On Shavuot we say, thank you Hashem for the incredible gift of the Torah. Life would be unthinkable without the Torah. Why do we have to connect the two? Any thoughts on what you've just learned? Like what should be the connection between Pesach and Shavuot, and how does that connect to how we can turn Sfirat Omer into something as a really powerful experience? Any thoughts on the connection? Yes.
To get the Torah, we have to be redeemed from Egypt.
So in order to get the Torah, we have to be redeemed from Egypt. Exactly. Okay, very good. And then, does someone want to add on to that? So in other words, we couldn't receive the Torah in Egypt because we were slaves, so we didn't have that opportunity. Anyone want to share anything else on this? Further thought about, well, let me put it to you this way. What was the purpose of being freed from Egypt? Let's ask that question. Yes? Yeah, so that we should have a leader, but what would be the purpose in having a leader? Moshe to lead us to getting the Torah, yeah?
Yeah, I think that's what the Sefer Kenneth was saying. That the whole main reason of leaving Egypt was to get the Torah.
Exactly. The whole main, so because you see, and this is a major, this is a completely different way of learning about Pesach. In other words, the counting of the Omer doesn't only change the way we look at Shavuot, it changes actually the way that we look at Pesach. Because what was the purpose of being taken out of Egypt and getting out of the slavery? So you could say, well, so we could be free. But that's only the beginning of the story. It's not the end of the story. Because what is the purpose of the freedom? The purpose of the freedom was in order to be able to get the Torah. So by beginning to count the days from Pesach to Shavuot, in actual fact, what the mitzvah is teaching us, don't look at Pesach by itself. Don't look at Pesach by itself. You can only understand Pesach if you link it to Shavuot, because the purpose of Pesach was so that we would end up at Har Sinai, at Mount Sinai to receive the Torah. So, and that's an important insight, because let me ask you something about Pesach. We thank Hashem for taking us out of slavery in Egypt. But who engineered events that we would end up in slavery in Egypt in the first place? That was Hashem. So why are we thanking Him for taking us out? But the point is this. He was creating us as a nation. So He created us. We had to go through the experience of the slavery and then get our freedom from Him, so that we would learn that our freedom was a gift from Hashem, so that we would use our freedom to do mitzvahs, to make the world into a better place, to make ourselves into better people, to serve Hashem and to do good. It was actually teaching us the very purpose of life. And that's why when Hashem introduces Himself to the Jewish people for the very first time, the very first words that we hear at the giving of the Torah, the Ten Commandments, what is the very first mitzvah? Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I'm the Lord your God. How does it continue? Asher Hotzeisicha Me'eretz Mitzrayim. Right? That I took you out of Egypt. What else? When Hashem is introducing Himself to the Jewish people, how else could He have said it? He could have said, Anochi Hashem, I'm the Lord your God who gave you the Torah, or who created the world. Why didn't He say, I'm Hashem who created the world? Why did He say, I'm Hashem who took you out of Egypt? Because He's teaching us, I gave you your freedom, and now I'm giving you something to do with that freedom. Freedom by itself needs purpose and meaning. And this is one of the most important, and that's actually what the mitzvah of counting of the Omer says. Freedom by itself is not enough. Freedom by itself is not enough. It needs to be connected to purpose and meaning. You know that there was a public holiday this week, right? Celebrating the concept of freedom and democracy in South Africa. Freedom by itself has to be, it's the beginning of the journey. It's not the end. That has to be connected to a higher meaning and purpose. And so when we count the Omer, what in fact we are doing is saying we are linking the freedom of Pesach to the purpose of Shavuot. To say the purpose of the freedom was that we should be able to do good things, that we can do the mitzvahs. And that's why we are counting towards the giving of the Torah to make a link between the two, so that Pesach is not by itself. Freedom by itself is not enough. It needs to be connected to meaning and purpose, because Hashem created us for a higher purpose in this world. And only when we connect to meaning and purpose do we actually truly feel happy at the end. Because ultimately, as a human being, Hashem put a neshama, soul in us, and we can only feel that sense of happiness when we connect to a higher meaning and purpose, and we only truly become free. You know that Mishnah in Pirkei Avos where it says, Ein lecha ben chorim, ela mi she'osek b'Torah. The only true free person is when we're involved in Torah, because that gives us the full expression to our freedom. So now let me ask you this question, which the Sefer HaChinuch deals with, but I want to give another angle on it. What is unusual about the counting of the Omer? If we counting,
Counting up and not down.
we're counting up and not down. Excellent. We count the days 1, 2, 3, 4. If we're counting to Shavuot, we should be counting down. 49 days, 48 days, there's 7 weeks, 49 days. Why don't we count down? When you are looking forward to something, you count down, you don't count up. Okay, so that's the question. Now, what's the answer to that question? Because that goes to the heart of the Omer. In other words, to understand this mitzvah, we count the 49 days from Pesach to Shavuot. It links the two festivals, because the two have to be linked, as we've discussed. Now, the other dimension is that we count up, we don't count down. We count 1, 2, 3, 4, not 49, 48, 47, 46. Why do we count up and we don't count down? Yeah.
The number's increasing, so it's growing to receive the Torah.
You're growing to receive the Torah. Excellent. So that's the theme that I wanted to discuss. The Sefer HaChinuch himself gives another reason there, right? Yeah.
You don't want to see like a large number at the beginning of the day.
Yes, it's meant to be an encouragement, because if you say 49 days ago, that seems so far away. Whereas you focus on what you have achieved, right? And that's an important life lesson. You know, so often we want to achieve great things. Instead of looking what we still have to do, look at what you have already accomplished. That's a wonderful feeling to say, I've already accomplished this, I've got more to do, but let me focus on what I have already accomplished. Now, counting up is, exactly as you said, is a process of growth. There's an amazing explanation from the word usefartem, you shall count, which I saw in the commentary of Haksav HaKabbalah, Rav Yaakov Tzvi Mecklenburg. He says usefartem comes from the root of the Hebrew word saphir, which is sapphire. Okay, sapphire, which is this precious stone. It is about the process not just of counting, but polishing, by making it shining, by developing it. You know, that you can take stones, diamonds, precious stones, gold is buried in the ground. In order for it to find its full beauty, you have to take it out the ground, you have to polish it, you have to prepare it. So too as people, as human beings, Hashem has given us this incredible diamond, an incredible sapphire. That is the neshama. But it's buried in the ground. It's buried in our body. Then we have to go in a process of life where we bring out the beauty that is within each one of us. And the way that we bring that out is through a process of growth. So what the counting of the Omer says, if you want to become a great person, you have to work on yourself. To work on yourself, you have to grow. To grow, you do it day by day. That's why each day is a mitzvah. We say the bracha again. Each day, we're adding on, and we are building. And according to those opinions that also say that it's one long mitzvah, we are adding one day on the next. We are growing and developing, and we are becoming better people each step of the way. And so we have this process of growth from the freedom of Pesach to Shavuot, where we are improving and polishing ourselves, and we are taking it one step at a time. How do we grow and improve ourselves? That's something to think about, because how do we do that? One area that we do is through our midas, our character traits. And the way that we treat one another. Where do we learn that as the opposite of something that happened during this period of the Omer, right? Which is also a period of mourning. What do we remember that happened during this time? The death of the students of Rabbi Akiva, right? And part of the tragedy that befell them, what does the Gemara say? Sheloi nahagu kavod zelazeh. They didn't treat one another with respect. And so what we learn from them and the period of mourning is that we need to treat one another with respect. Part of the process of growing towards receiving the Torah at Shavuot is an appreciation for one another, to treat each other with respect, with dignity, with kavod, with derech eretz. That's part of the process of growth. So we're talking here about a process of growth to bring out the beautiful jewels that are within our personality, within our character, within who we are, and we do that by working on our character. We do that through the process of learning Torah, by getting closer to Hashem, and we do that also by changing our whole concept of time. There's an amazing thing which the Dubna Magid explains about why we count up and we don't count down. Dubna Magid says an amazing thing, because he says, you know, in our lives, and it's a very deep concept, in our lives, and you're still so young and you've got so many years, please God, ahead of you to 120, Mirza Hashem, and each year that passes, the question is this, is the time that you're experiencing, is it growing and accumulating, or is it slipping through your fingers? So the Dubna Magid says that when a person focuses only on what the physical world can give, then if you've had a physical experience with something, then that's gone. You forget about it. The only thing that accumulates, that adds one thing on another, is the mitzvahs that we do. Every word of Torah that you learn, every mitzvah that you do, every cent you give to tzedakah, every davening that you do, every person that you help, every Shabbos that you keep, every one of these things accumulates as another mitzvah, another mitzvah, another mitzvah, and then your life becomes full of these incredible treasures. It's accumulating. That's why you count up, because you don't lose what's behind you. It builds one day on the next, on the next, on the next. But in the world of the physical, it doesn't. The older a person gets, the more of life has passed, and it's gone, and it's behind, and it's lost, and there's no way of getting it back. You know, and I see that at my age more strongly than you see it at yours, okay? But it's part of looking at life and understanding what can you hold on to in your time. And the only thing that you can hold on to is the mitzvahs that you do and the work that you do on yourself, and that you grow and that accumulates and that becomes part of who you are. So the whole journey of Sfirat Omer is a journey of growth, from Pesach to Shavuot, from freedom to purpose, from growing and becoming a better person through your character, through your midas, and through the accumulation of your mitzvahs, through the Torah that you learn, through the mitzvahs that you do. It's all that process of growing, and that's what makes it such an exciting mitzvah, that every day that you count, usfartem, and what Rav Mecklenburg says, usfartem lachem, you count for you. Why lachem? Why do you think it says the word lachem? The Torah could have just said usfartem, count. Why does it say usfartem lachem, count for you? So, do you know the first pasuk in Parshat Lech Lecha? Hashem says to Avraham, Lech Lecha. Do you remember the Rashi there that says, when he says Lech Lecha, why does it say walk for you, go for you? What was Hashem saying to Avraham? Yeah.
Wasn't it like, yes, I'm telling you to do this, but this is inevitably for your well-being?
That's for your benefit, exactly. Lech Lecha, I'm telling you to go on a journey, and it's going to look like a lot of self-sacrifice, but actually it's not self-sacrifice, it's for your benefit. Lecha, Lech Lecha, go for you. Usfartem lachem means count for yourself. Go for you, meaning this is your journey. And this is what we started off with at the beginning when we spoke about the mitzvahs. The mitzvahs are what Hashem gave us as the incredible tools to make us better people. Hashem said, here are these mitzvahs. We have to do them because Hashem commanded us. They're not just suggestions. But then he says, these are what I'm giving you as the opportunity to make yourself into a better person. To make yourself into a better person. Usfartem lachem. Now count for you. Make yourself into a better person. And go through that process of a journey in which you bring out the incredible beauty of who you are. And that's why this entire time from Pesach to Shavuot is about that journey, usfartem lachem, of bringing out the sapphire, the sapphire, the beauty, the magnificence of who you are in this journey of growth, from freedom to purpose, from Pesach to Shavuot, the journey of becoming a better person through how we treat others, through our character, through the Torah that we learn, through everything that we do, and through realizing that time is the greatest gift that Hashem gave us. And that when we use our time well and with valuable things, with things that last, then we can accumulate a lifetime of incredible treasures, and that the days that pass are not our enemies, they are our friends, because they have accumulated for us this incredible treasure of all of our mitzvahs. So that's what I wanted to share with you, that this mitzvah of counting the Omer, we're not just counting numbers. It's actually an incredible opportunity. And every night when you count, think about how you're on a journey and how exciting it is, because to be on a journey in life is an exciting thing. When you get to the destination, well, then you've arrived. The journey is when you're growing, when there's a sense of anticipation, there's hope of a better tomorrow, promise for a better person, for the growth that you're striving for. And I can see in the atmosphere of the learning today, and in your faces as we've been learning together now during this session, I can see that you are B'nai Aliyah, you are students who are striving to grow and to develop, and may Hashem bless you to grow up to be Talmidei Chachamim of Yiras Shamayim. May Hashem bless you to continue to grow in your Torah learning, in your mitzvahs, in your chesed, in your midas. And may you continue to be the shining light that you are to the Cape Town Jewish community. God bless you, and thank you so much.